So everybody knows my favourite author is Dr Seuss, and I've chosen a book I think is especially appropriate right now, and it's called Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are? And that's probably how some of us are feeling at the moment. Looks a bit like me this morning when I got out of bed. Did I ever tell you how lucky you are? When I was quite young and quite small for my size, I met an old man in the desert of Dries, and he sang me a song I will never forget. At least, well, I haven't forgotten it yet. He sat in a terribly prickly place, and he sang with a sunny, sweet smile on his face. I'm not going to sing it, I'm going to say it. When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh, ever so much more, oh, muchly, much, much more unlucky than you. Be glad you don't work on the Bungly Bung Bridge that they're building across Boober Bay at Bum Ridge. It's a troublesome world. All the people who are in it are troubled with troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful, a whole heaping lot, for the places and people you're lucky you're not. Just suppose, for example, you lived in Gazette and got caught in that traffic on Zate Highway 8. It's not like that at the moment on the roads, is it? Or suppose, just for instance, you lived in Gazare with your bedroom up there and your bathroom down there. Wouldn't be good in the middle of the night. Suppose, just suppose, you were poor Herbie Hart, who has taken his thrombodimbulator apart. He never will get it together, I'm sure. He never will know if the gick or the gore fits into the scrups or the snups or the snore. Yes, ducky, you're lucky you're not Herbie Hart, who has taken his thrombodimbulator apart. You could build a thrombodimbulator and let us know what it does. Think they work you too hard? Think of poor Ali Sard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard, and it's quite quick growing grass, and it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it. And all that his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving that mower around in that hay is the piffless pay of 2 duklas a day, and Ali can't live on such piffless pay, so he has to paint flagpoles on Sundays in Grews. How lucky you are you don't live in his shoes. And poor Mr. Bix, every morning at 6, poor Mr. Bix has his bore fin to fix. It doesn't seem fair, it just doesn't seem right, but his bore fin just seems to go slump every night. I kind of do as well. It slumps in a heap, sadly needing repair. Bix figures it's due to the local night air. It takes him all day to unslump it, and then the night air comes back and it slumps once again. So don't you feel blue, don't get down in the dumps. You're lucky you don't have a bore fin that slumps. And while we are at it, consider the schlots, the crumple-horned, web-footed, green-bearded schlots whose tail is entangled with unsolvable knots. If he isn't muchly more worse off than you, I'll eat my umbrella. That's just what I'll do. And you're lucky indeed you don't ride on a camel. To ride on a camel, you sit on a whammel. A whammel, you know, is a sort of a saddle, held on by a button that's known as a faddle. And boy, if your old, I'm going to be careful with this, and boy, if your old whammel faddle gets loose, I'm telling you, ducky, you're gone like a goose. Oh, the jobs people work at out west near, oh goodness, out west near Watch. So watch, be watcher. His job is to watch, is to keep both his eyes on the lazy town bee. A bee that is watched will work harder, you see. Well, he watched and he watched, but in spite of his watch, the bee didn't work harder. Not much. Watch, I think it is. I should have thought about this before I chose this book. And how fortunate you're not Professor de Bries, who has spent the past 32 years, if you please, trying to teach Irish ducks how to read Javanese. And oh, just suppose you were poor Harry Haddo. Try as he will, he can't make any shadow. He thinks that perhaps something's wrong with his geese, and I think that by golly, there probably is. See if you could not make a shadow today. And the brothers Bazoo, the poor brothers Bazoo, suppose your hair grew like theirs happened to do. You think you're unlucky? I'm telling you, ducky, some people are muchly, oh, ever so muchly more unlucky than you. And suppose that you lived in that forest in France where the average young person just hasn't a chance to escape from the perilous pants-eating plants. But your pants are safe. You're a fortunate guy, and you ought to be shouting, how lucky am I? And you're so lucky you're not Gucky Gown, who lives by himself 90 miles out of town in the ruins of Ronk. Ronk is rather run down. He must be ever so lonely. And you're so lucky you're not a left sock, left behind by mistake in the caverns of Croc. Thank goodness for all of the things you are not. Thank goodness you're not something someone forgot and left all alone in some punkerish place like a nasty tin coat hanger hanging in space. That's why I say, ducky, or all of you children, don't grumble, don't stew. Some critters are much, oh, ever so much, so muchly, much more unlucky than you. Have a good day.